you're with us and we're at IP College in Delhi looking at what options students have. You never know what life has to offer, so how well can you be prepared? Of course, you can never be prepared enough, and this bunch seems to be one that sort of has it all chalked out and charted out clearly in their heads. But one thing we haven't discussed, of course, being what about starting off on your own? What about setting up something on your own? What about being an entrepreneur? You said you're someone who's working with a startup, so you have some experience there.
Yeah, actually a bunch of students from our very department, they started this company called Exactly. The thing is, our department is well known for its media festival, and we are so experienced with it that now they are opening up their own startup and beginning to help out other colleges with their festivals.
This is a student initiative.
Yeah, it's a students initiative, and I think these kinds of startups are actually working out for people. Look at the media portals like Youth Ki Awaaz. They started out very small and got stared at, and now they are beginning to launch into so
right, made a name for themselves and sort of have quite a reputation. Yeah.
These days, a lot of students, we had a disconto card system coming in Delhi University. That was again a startup. So a lot of students have understood their interest beyond the academics, and they started using what they're learning in classrooms on field also. They started using what the skills they have practically also. That is something that is very good, and that is something that is going to help us as students as well.
Right, so you're saying we're using those skills not for somebody else, but using those skills for themselves, which of course is very important. You had spoken earlier about, you're as involved with the placement cell, and you said that I would tell students, forget the jobs, regular jobs, if you're not getting them. There's also the startups. Look at startups, they can be great learning opportunities, even though they might be a bit of a risk, but they're great learning opportunities. What has been the response to something like that? How many students around you do you believe are open to the idea of startups?
Students are really looking forward to any of the opportunities available other than academics. So they are putting every possible efforts to join internships and working for startups as well.
So you see people are open to working for startups.
For startups, the one thing you are at advantage of is that you start from the scratch level to bring it to the heights. So you really get the experience and the change in yourself, even that the mistakes you could have done.
Right.
Other than if you join
somebody
company,
else, and perhaps the learning isn't perhaps as great,
so
because you're sort of
learning is
right. You of course have to be quite a risk taker for it. Is that something that you think you are? Are you a risk taker? Would you sort of think about it, or if you were an entrepreneur, what's the kind of entrepreneurship that you would like for yourself?
Actually, being I don't think so. It's a good option to take up a startup as such, because we are just we've just graduated and we've no experience of life. So I don't think so it's a good option to
too much of a risk. You're saying learn some more, and
exactly, it's too early actually.
Just talking about the funds here, when we talk about learning factor, when you have your own startup coming in, you're approaching for sponsorship, you're approaching to investors who could probably invest in your company.
And the incubators who are out there to help
that entire exposure that you're getting, that kind of field work and that kind of street smartness and that ability to convince others in your idea is something that will take you a long way. So if you are starting up your own company today, other companies might want you for your ideas and for your skills and abilities also.
I would like to add to that when you're even if you don't start your own company, being a part of a startup as an intern even gives you so much exposure and so much learning that you will never get in a big company if you intern there.
Right. So she had a point to make.
When I just want to add to what she said, that she said that one needs to have funds to start up anything, but apart from funds, I also think being a student, I should have enough time to dedicate to what I want to. For example, I have been a part of the various heritage walks around the city, and I have approached a lot of them for an internship because it really interests me, but they have denied me, or I should say they have rejected me just because they knew that I cannot give the time they want to.
I see.
Have from me. So apart from funds and this, we should also have enough time taking time from
and
our
perhaps people who are open to giving students the opportunities to sample something like this. It's, maybe on a reduced hour basis or whenever you can, because at the end of the day there's only so much that a student can do, I would imagine. So it's not fair to sort of be deprived of the opportunity, I would imagine.
Yes, actually it's not fair because right now we are just juggling with our studies and our entrances and our interests also. So if our interest lies in your company and doing your internship, then I think it's fair to at least give us a chance.
Right.
Because if we are approaching you, that means we have interest in that thing.
Right.
So it will be fair if you give us a chance. And I think what is the most important thing is that our interest lies in that. So
make the most of it, grab it and make the most of it. Why not?
Yes, entrepreneurship, startups, it's all about, it's not about the problems, it's about our interests. See, funds can come, time can be managed, everything can be done in place if we have our interest in that.
Right. Well, let's hope all those companies who can perhaps give you those internships, can have those openings, are listening, and that's what they will do. So these are, of course, a very bright bunch of young students out there. If there's anything that they want to do with you, well, you would be well advised to go and give them the opportunity. Like they're saying, funds can be managed, time can be managed, but just remember, we are interested in you, and that, of course, would be priceless.
You're not really keen on entrepreneurship. Why?
It's pretty awesome to have your own venture and be your own boss, but then there are a lot of deterrent factors. One of them is that you need a steady source of income once you graduate from here because you need to pay back your student loan. Secondly, the work-life balance. It becomes all the more important when it comes to women. So especially in the initial stages of a startup, you need to compromise a lot on your personal life, and I think that is one of the biggest deterrent factors for me.
Okay. And Nikhil, you on the other hand, want to start up or have already started up? What really inspired you?
I don't want to be good, I want to be great. And you can be great only if you go in business. Because when you're in business, the sky is the limit. You can achieve anything you want. It all depends on how good you are. And that is why I started my own startup in Chennai. And we actually manufacture alternators and motors and small wind turbines. And we use new technology. We develop technology Indian and all indigenous. We use permanent magnets for our motors and alternators, which allows us to run our alternators at very good efficiencies. And there's a lot of demand for those kind of alternators. They're much lighter and much more compact. And that's pretty much it about.
So I'll latch on to your I don't want to be good, but I want to be great. So do you think in a management college or any college for that matter, ideas really graduate from that first level of having them in college itself?
So it's great that people have startups already, but the advantage of starting off in a college like say IIM Bangalore, which has the connections and the status of being IIM Bangalore, you get the access to the best faculty in the country. You have the access to the best talent, the best minds in the country. So it's a great place to start off, and it's a nice environment. It's a safe environment, and then that really helps you take it forward. And once you go out, you can take it off from there.
Just to add to the point she made, in addition to the faculty, also the peer network that you get here, it's one of the best. So you can actually really bounce off those ideas from your friends and get the best out of it. So I mean, in the formulation stage, when ideas are being changed randomly and dynamically, that IIM Bangalore actually provides you that environment that you can actually come up with the best when you go outside, and really gives you that experimental platform when you are here.
I think my viewpoint is that institute does a great deal in terms of helping you out in terms of if people actually take up entrepreneurial ventures. I mean, there is a scheme in the institute that your entire fee is being waived off. So those kind of support structures are already in place, which are there to encourage you to become entrepreneurs. The thing which I feel is if you spend a bit of time in a professional setup, you take away that experience with you. And that I think at some point, even if you do a startup, let's say 5 or 10 years down the line, that professional experience I think counts a lot. So I would suggest that people come here, go back to the industry, spend some time, and then take a call from there that what is it that they want to start up. But I always feel that because we are an institute like this and we represent the best, I think we have this responsibility to give back to the society and to the country. So I think we have to look for some kind of startup idea at some point.
I don't exactly believe with what these guys say. So the thing is, when you're right out of your engineering college, you have the financial prowess, but you don't have the business acumen. And when you're in an MBA college, you have the business acumen, but you don't have the financial prowess anymore. With the loans running up to 20 lakhs, it becomes really difficult for someone to actually, take that risk and then go and start off something of his own. And adding on to that, more than the government giving incentives, I think if the corporate world has incentives like Mahindra has this Park the Rise campaign, where it funds startups as a part of the Mahindra group, but then it's an independent venture. So therein you have a steady source of income and you can do a venture on the other hand. So something of that sort will probably help.
Okay, I'll come back to the financial part in a bit. But before that, you always saying that it's a great platform that you have in IIM or any other college where you can ideate. But my particular question is, why does this not graduate out into the world? Why does it not work in the real world?
Like what I would say is, like, you have to get the product market fit right first. So getting into the right idea is very, very important for getting into a good startup, and to get into that idea itself is very challenging. So you have to hit that first.
So a lot of time what happens is the ideation stage is probably in some course that you're told, okay, come up with an idea, or you have a competition. What I feel is that these processes end up being a little bit more academic than practical in the real world, and hence a lot of the ideas that may come up, they don't graduate into the real world.
Okay, Nalan, you have something to add?
Yeah. So what I'm saying that I believe that MBA colleges, they teach you how to calculate the risk, how to plan the venture, but they don't teach you how to take that risk. People here are a bit like scared. Okay, this is the risk that I'm going to take, or maybe I'll fail or not. So that's the thing I believe.
Okay, so let me go to ideation itself, because that was something which someone raised. What really goes into this ideation process that you have for an entrepreneurial venture in a college?
So I think there are multiple courses that we do here, like new product development or corporate strategy and courses like that, wherein we basically take up ideas which are basically in the seed phase, and we basically go through all the challenges that a normal typical startup would face, and then we basically try and simulate the kind of environment that a particular startup would actually thrive in. And so that kind of experience during the projects, and we also do kind of go outside the campus and talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and take their views on how they have kind of come across all that same problems that they have faced in their lives. I feel the reason why some of those ideas don't go to the next level is because there's always this trade-off. I mean, right now when you're graduating and you see that good packages coming to you, and all of a sudden you think that in short-term view that you feel that this is the right thing, this is the right path that you should take. But then longer term, people always feel that entrepreneurship is going to yield better rewards for you. But I think that short-sightedness, wherein you see that there's the benefit in the hindsight. I mean, you always feel that this is the right way, and which is where I think a lot of us make the mistake.
Okay. So both of you were talking about risk-taking. You wanted to add something to that?
So I just want to add something. It's not about making a mistake. It's just that the ideas are always on the plate. But when you graduate from here, you get that financial security, and then you build that up for building up your ventures.
I don't think a B school, as say, they contribute too much to it. I think an idea just comes up. But what B school does is it kind of makes you overthink stuff. Like if you have an idea, you'll start thinking about the operations, marketing, and sometimes you think that it's not going to work. You really need that push. That's why I think when you come out of undergrad, you don't have that much business acumen like Amit just mentioned. So you're less risk averse and you want to do the idea. But here you start thinking about stuff. You have other offers in your mind. You have other stuff on your plate. So you're not that willing to take the risk.